It's a pleasure to join you once again to discuss the topic of leadership with results, the key to a culture of excellence. I want to begin by thanking Dr. Miguel Cardenas, the distinguished Executive Director of the International Training Center, for his commitment to excellence and for organizing these valuable programs that span around the world. Today, we're going to talk about my favorite subject, leadership. And specifically, we're going to examine how leaders get results. And as the title of today's program implies, achieving results is the key to creating excellence in any enterprise, whether it's a business, educational institution, healthcare facility, or government agency. The formula for achieving results that we'll discuss today works in all types of businesses and not-for-profit organizations. So, with that in mind, let's try to define the term results. When I talk about results, I'm referring to your organization's performance and improvement in 5 important areas of the business. Let me note here that when I consult with companies and organizations, and it makes very little difference what type of business they're in, I typically can trace the shortcomings of an underperforming business unit or department to one of these 5 key result areas. This is why I believe you should have measurable, quantifiable results for each of the following 5 areas of your organization. Number 1, product and service outcomes. Number 2, customer outcomes. Number 3, financial and market outcomes. Number 4, workforce outcomes. And number 5, process effectiveness outcomes. I will discuss the first 4 of these key areas in detail, leaving process effectiveness outcomes for another module. First, let's analyze product and service outcomes. If you're in the automotive business or manufacturing, or you deliver educational services at a university, or treat patients in a hospital, or provide emergency services through a government agency, in each of these cases, you should be able to define your product and service outcomes. What you should be able to determine are the levels of quality and value that lead to customer satisfaction, customer loyalty, and positive referrals. So, from a leadership perspective, you want to measure your product and service performance for every major product you offer or service you provide, so that you have a clear indication of your customers' feelings about your product and or services, as well as their willingness to do business with you in the future or refer future business to you. Obviously, to do this, you need to be measuring your customer satisfaction levels. What are some of the types of measures or metrics you should be using? Well, depending on your organization and the type of products or services you provide, you should consider the following measures: internal quality measurements, field performance of products, defect levels, service errors, your response time, the ease of use of your product or service, and customer surveys on your product and service performance. Let me add that the correlation between products and or service performance and customer indicators is a critical management tool with multiple uses. For example, it will help you define and focus on key quality and customer requirements. It will identify product and service differentiators in your marketplace. It can help you determine cause, effect, relationships between your product and service attributes, and evidence of customer satisfaction and loyalty, as well as positive referrals. Also, there's changing market segments and changing customer requirements, and also the potential obsolescence of your product and or services. The second key result area that leaders should monitor and pay close attention to are customer outcomes. What are you trying to determine is this: how well does your organization satisfy its customers? Also, how is your organization doing in terms of creating customer loyalty and repeat business and positive referrals? Now, in order for you to objectively and accurately determine these results, you need relevant, timely, and accurate data from your customers. So this data might include customer satisfaction and dissatisfaction information. It might include retention levels, gains and losses of customers, including data broken down into key customer segments. It might include customer complaints or complaint management and effective complaint resolution. It might also include warranty claims, customer perceived value based on quality and price, and customer assessment of access and ease of use, including, by the way, courtesy. And it might also include awards and ratings and recognition from customers and independent organizations. So if you're doing these things, or most of them, I think you are going well beyond the standard customer satisfaction measurements that most of your competition might be using. I believe that customer loyalty, repeat business, and long-term customer relationships are better indicators and measures of your future success in the marketplace. I also think they are strong indicators of organizational stability. The third key area that leaders should measure and quantify is financial and market outcomes. You know, it goes without saying that the ultimate measure of your organization's sustainability is this key area. I think financial measures are equally important in gauging the success of traditional not-for-profit organizations, such as education, government, and healthcare. While I realize that nonprofit organizations are not in the business of making money, they are, in fact, a business because they have customers and they charge a fee for their services. Now, that fee might be paid in the form of a health insurance premium that your patients pay each month, or taxes that citizens pay to the government, or tuition that students pay to enroll in your university or school. And certainly, no one can dispute the fact that if you do not have sufficient revenues, regardless of the business you are in, you will be out of business before too long. So, what do leaders measure in order to accurately assess their financial and market outcomes? Here are the leading indicators that I recommend my for-profit clients consider using as true indicators of financial and market performance. First, there's operating margins. Next, return on investment percentages for each leading product or service. Thirdly, profits. Next, there's profitability by market segment or customer group. Liquidity is a good indicator. Debt to equity ratio, days cash on hand, asset utilization, cash flow, earnings per share, financial operations efficiency, which is really collections, billings, and receivables, and of course, financial returns. Now, for our nonprofit clients, here are a few financial indicators we recommend that leaders should monitor. First, there's performance to budget. Next, reserve funds. Thirdly, cost avoidance or savings. Next, your administrative expenditures as a percentage of budget. Fifth, the cost of fundraising versus the amount of funds raised. Now, when you consider what leaders should evaluate or monitor in terms of marketplace performance, here are some good metrics that I recommend to both our for-profit and nonprofit clients. I always like to lead off with business growth. It's a very strong indicator. Secondly, your level of charitable donations. And then there's grants received, and this is appropriate in the nonprofit sector. In the for-profit and nonprofit, what about new products, programs, and services? And there's always new markets entered, including web-based markets and exports. I also like to measure the percentage of revenue derived from new products, programs, and services. Again, if the leaders of your organization are paying attention to these important metrics, you will have a good handle on your financial and market performance. The fourth key area of results for successful leaders is workforce outcomes. Although the internet is changing the rules of the workplace, most companies and organizations still rely heavily on people to operate their businesses, deliver services, and produce the products. When I talk about the workforce, I'm referring to the people who are actively involved in accomplishing the work of your organization. This might include your permanent, temporary, and part-time personnel. It also includes any contract workers who are supervised by your organization. Now, for nonprofit organizations, I would classify your volunteers as part of your workforce, since most nonprofit organizations rely on their volunteers to get projects completed. I encourage leaders to pay attention to how their organization engages, manages, and develops its people. I also advise my clients to pay close attention to 5 critical factors so that there are no surprises in terms of employee defection, absenteeism, work slowdowns, or other job-related problems or issues. So let me give you those 5. First, compensation. Secondly, motivation. Thirdly, continuing education. Fourth, professional growth. And fifth, but certainly not last, is recognition. Here are the key measures I encourage leaders to monitor to ensure their workforce outcomes are on track. I like to begin with organization culture, and then involvement in appropriate decision-making. Thirdly, workforce development and training is very important. Next, workforce retention and turnover levels. And then peer recognition is a great indicator. And safety, and absenteeism, and complaints and formal grievances. If you have a union shop, what about your union management labor relations? And of course, workplace recognition and awards, such as the best companies to work for or some other type of award that your company might receive. Leaders should pay attention to two important factors. First, you want your employees to be engaged in their work. By this I mean that employees should feel enriched by their work and the work experience. They should enjoy coming to work and contributing to the success of your organization. They should thrive on achieving excellence instead of just punching the clock and putting in their required hours on the job. The challenge of creating workforce satisfaction is a major one, and it haunts most companies because they have created a culture of mediocrity in the workplace instead of a culture of excellence. Some of the ways your organization can create a high-performance workplace include the following. First, create channels of communication between frontline employees and supervisors or management. Next, ensure that your employees are cross-trained so that no job goes undone due to a lack of skill or competence among your employees. This increases the self-worth of your employees knowing they can perform multiple tasks. Next, ensure that accurate and timely information flows from the top down. Create an environment where there are no secrets. Establish individual performance goals at all levels of the organization. Now, performance goals should not be confused with productivity goals. Next, empower people to do a job and then let them do it. Get out of the way. I also encourage clients to foster an environment of innovation and diverse thinking where ideas and creativity are rewarded and encouraged. Solutions thinking is a major part of everybody's job, not just senior management. I also like to see organizations build teams and foster teamwork. Most companies that rely on teams actually enjoy higher levels of productivity. Another important dimension of your workforce effectiveness that leaders must focus on is the performance management systems that include compensation, benefits, incentives, and of course recognition. Also, the best companies and organizations not only develop the professional attributes of their employees, but also their personal attributes. For example, companies like GE, Boeing, Motorola, and others have internal universities where employees are groomed for higher positions at all levels of the organization, from secretaries and technicians to unit managers and vice presidents. But these core competency skills are accompanied by character building, ethics training, respect for diversity, relationship building skills, and other personal growth tools and globally oriented competencies that employees can use in their personal lives as well as professionally. If you examine the best companies to work for in Mexico, the list might surprise you. At least it surprised me. This annual list, which is comprised by the Great Places to Work Institute Incorporated, a research and management consultancy based in the United States with affiliate offices throughout the world, was launched in 1984 following the publication of the best-selling book, The 100 Best Companies to Work For in America. and I'm talking about the 1984 edition of Addison Wesley, the publisher. It was written by Robert Levering and Milton Moskowitz. At the heart of their definition of a great place to work, that is, a place where employees trust the people they work for, have pride in what they do, and enjoy the people they work with, is the novel idea that a great workplace is measured by the quality of the three interconnected relationships that exist in the organization. And here they are. Number one, the relationship between employees and management. Secondly, the relationship between employees and their jobs in the company. And thirdly, the relationship between employees and other employees. Having said that, the highest ranked companies to work for in Mexico include FedEx, Starbucks, British American Tobacco, the JW Marriott Hotel in Mexico City, Banco Compartamos, Grupo Aruba, the construction and real estate company, Interprotección, the large insurance company, Diageo, a food product and manufacturer, McDonald's of Mexico, and Johnson Salag, the biotechnology and pharmaceutical company. Now, when you examine this list, the three companies on it that surprise me are Starbucks, McDonald's, and the JW Marriott Hotel in Mexico City. What surprises me is that these are relatively small operations that pay a respectable wage, but not superior wages. They require hard work and some physical labor. And they also require people to work in teams in order to get the job done. Finally, all three of these companies, Starbucks, McDonald's, and the JW Marriott Hotel, require close customer contact and interaction. Now that's a demanding workplace. But according to their employees, these are outstanding places to work for all of those reasons. My point in sharing this information with you is simply this. You do not need to have thousands of employees in order to create excellence in the workplace. Consider the fact that Interprotección only employs 126 people, while Diageo only employs 156 people. I think the ultimate test of whether or not your workforce outcomes achieve your desired results can be reduced to three factors. First, have you hired the right people? Secondly, have you given them clear roles and responsibilities and the necessary tools to do their job? And thirdly, do you treat them with dignity and respect so they remain part of your organization? Finally, I encourage all leaders to evaluate the effectiveness of their workforce at least annually. This can be done through an independent survey that identifies potential issues and concerns among your employees. It also can be used as a comparison tool to measure your organization's progress against competitors or industry standards. In another module, I will share with you our fifth and final key results area, process effectiveness outcomes. I will also provide you with 2 case studies to help you put all of this in perspective and use in your organization to create outstanding results. So, I look forward to sharing that material with you as well. As a final reflection, we live today in a world of ever-increasing competition and change. Our organizations urgently need performance and results-oriented leaders with a global vision in order to achieve excellence. We must all strive to become leaders of what we do. Let's all put into practice the roadmap I have proposed today. Thank you.